So we hear two more of the churches in Asia Minor that in the book of Revelation. And this church of Laodicea, Jesus uses things that they are used to, the things that they know about, things that are pertinent to their particular town. So, for instance, in a nearby town, in Hierapolis, there were hot springs where people would go to bathe. I remember when I went to Turkey, we were unable to go to Laodicea because we had the biggest snowstorm in 20 years that hit the place. And so we ended up just going straight to Hierapolis, and I can tell you, after being out in the snow, it was great to be in those hot springs. But and there was another town nearby that had cold springs where, for good drinking water and all that. Laodicea did not have that. It was just lukewarm water. But they had an incredible banking system. They were a very rich community, so that in AD 60, when the town was destroyed by an earthquake, without any help from the Roman government, they were able to rebuild just because they had that type of wealth. And they were able to rebuild the whole town. They had so many different trades and such where they would export wool for clothing and eye ointment. They had a medical school and all these things that are going on. And so Jesus says, you think you're rich, you think you're affluent, and you don't need anything. You don't realize you're wretched, pitiable, poor, blind, and naked. You're neither cold nor hot. I wish you were cold or hot. I wish that you would be one direction or another, fully for me or fully against me. But you're lukewarm, you're tepid. He says, I advise you to buy from me gold refined by fire so that you may be rich, and white garments to put on, that your shameful nakedness may not be exposed, and buy ointment to smear on your eyes so that you may see. Do you see all these things? Jesus is speaking in a language that they understand. These are the things that surround them in their culture of that city. And he's saying, get with the program, basically. But he doesn't say this because he hates them, he dislikes them, he wants nothing to do with them. He doesn't say this because he's turned his back on them and says, I can't believe you've done this. He says this because he loves them intensely. Those whom I love, I reprove and chastise, he says. I chastise you because I want so much your good. Turn away from your evil. Turn away from your wickedness. Turn away from your lukewarmness, he says. And turn back to me. As we heard yesterday, restore that first love that you have lost. And so Jesus sometimes reproves us. Jesus sometimes chastises us. But he always does it with incredible love. Not because he's turning his back on us because of our sin, but because he so longs for us to run to embrace his heart. Jesus uses language they understand, and he uses language that we understand in our hearts. So I invite you, what are the areas where you may be lukewarm? What are the areas where you may be struggling, where you may be turning away from God? Jesus is saying, come back to me. Come back to me. Turn back to my heart. I want to pour out my mercy and my love upon you. But you need to repent. Oh, Jesus, may we have that grace to turn away from our sin. Set us on fire for love of you, so that we may not be lukewarm.